Welcome to the ISIS in the Bible Summer Gathering, week number 1. Forgive me, Sophia. The question for today we went over was, what does baptism mean to you? And like usual, we went around the room. We got some amazing responses. There was lots of compliments going back and forth on what people said. So it's beautiful, and we'll share them during the edit of this video. So is baptism the art of transformation from ignorance to wisdom? That word wisdom is very important today. Do we need to let go of the past? The not good past. Do we need to replace the past with beautiful, loving images? And do you know the root meaning of the word Sophia? So glad you could join us today, and hope we can make that clear for you today. So what's happening in the sky? We'll go over what's happening upon us, but also do just a quick recap to ensure that those who are new to this, they'll understand the real reason we are feeling these shifts in consciousness. This isn't because of a random effect. It's the stars, and it's all written on the Egyptian walls. The real reason not to chase the symptoms, but to attain the path of transcendence via wisdom. So this is titled Ready for the Fall, as we get closer to the fall event. So there's an alignment that's happening on August the 10th, Neptune, and then August 23rd, and Neptune will still be there because Neptune's going slow with the star Alkaid. Alkaid is one of the 7 stars that make the Big Dipper, or which is called the Great Bear. It's called many things, right? Alkaid, if you start researching Alkaid, you'll see that it's the fall of Babylon, destroyer of nations. Basically, it's all part of the fall of Babylon, the fall of the ego, and part of the stepping on the snake that Mary does. So Neptune hits on August the 10th, and Mars on August the 23rd. So those are a couple of really good dates. As you know, Neptune is high energy and Mars is fiery change. One of our members is feeling the effects of Mars right now. Part of the whole fall of Babylon. It is part of it. It's meant to be that. A quick mention, we're not going to go into detail on this because we'll talk about it more next week, but the truth about the Lion's Gate, it's August 23rd. The good news is that's the same date. So Mars aligns Alkaid, which is opposite of Neptune, at the same time that the sun aligns the royal star Regulus. So you can see how the heart plays a factor in being pure love. Does it mean we're all going to feel this? Some people will more than others, depending on their chart. So August the 23rd is the Lion's Gate because that's what happens when the sun is in front of Regulus. This is what's happening in the sky. Tropical is saying it's 8-8. They're telling you don't look to the sky. You have to look to the sky. All the greats have always told you look to the sky. You can't just follow the seasons of the sun. And just briefly, I wrote down here, the sun's going to be in Leo from August 17th to September 17th. But the gate, the Lion's Gate, is when it transits Regulus on the 23rd. So we got 2 major things happening on the 23rd. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Alkaid, how important it is. It's so important that he actually built a structure. It has this man over here, which represents you. It's a symbology. This is not about a king and why he made a hole there to look to the stars. No, the king is you. The goddess is you. So it says Serdab monument, in which is found a statue of King Dozier gazing through peepholes towards the star Alkaid in the north at the precise moment when the star Sirius rose in the east. So they actually got this thing. You can see him here. He's sitting there and he stares through. There's 2 holes. We're just going to talk about the one. The one shows where Alkaid is. And Alkaid, like I said, is the star that is the closest to the North Pole. And the North Pole is represented of the point in the middle, the self, the higher self, the God, the pure love. right? And it's also on the meridian of Alexandria where the Phoenix Rising is. So when you plot these and put them there, that's where it lands. You won't find this. You got to plot it yourself. People don't know this. So this is really important. Everything's built there for a reason, and all this is happening. So why would somebody go through all this trouble to make sure we look to Alkaid? Same line as the Phoenix Rising, as we showed in previous videos. There is profound metaphysical perspective to the symbolism of the 7 hunters of the Great Bear, Alkaid, to the North Pole star. So this is Alkaid, and you can see the Big Dipper here. This is the closest one to the pole star. They're talking about the 7 hunters of the Great Bear. This is representative of the 7 colors of the rainbow, us playing with the light. When we play with the light, actions, words, images, thoughts, we're playing with the light. We're manifesting things. If they're not good, it becomes karma, and there's the hunting of the bear, the 7 lights, the 7 lights in the sky. So all these stories are there so we can remember how we get back home. And the way back home is to love. And we'll talk about what that wisdom means. So the concept of karma refers to the law of cause and effect, where actions create corresponding reactions or waves. In the context of the light spectrum, these waves symbolize the karmic patterns that individuals create through their thoughts, words, and deeds. The Great Bear represents the journey to liberation. To get liberated is a state of mind. That state of mind has to be towards pure love. So what's really important too is to note that Sarah is the harvester, what she's doing at the end of August into September. This is all about harvesting ourself, saving ourself, right? So on September the 4th, we have Ceres exactly aligned at her harvest position, aligned with Spica. Remember, Libra and Aries is libraries. Those 2 words is libraries. Libra, Aries. When she lines there on this line, it's the same line where Mary is going to step on the snake come November 27th. That's the Ouroboros, right? So you see the head of the snake, and you can see the symbology. There's reasons why we put that there. We've been holding on to these breadcrumbs. And this is where it's related to the baptism, because we're going into the age of Aquarius. She's stepping on the snake saying, boom, time to change ages, time to change. You got to come out of your materialistic, humanistic experience and start coming more towards love, right? So because she is stepping on the snake on November, Sarah is going to come through first. And she's the harvester. She's at that spot. We've gone through this slide before, so we won't go too much in detail here. But you can see Sarah is on the Egyptian walls. There she is with the scythe. This is the harvest line. This is 0 degree Libra, where the weighing of the heart, right after the weighing of the heart ceremony. So she's there. Remember? There's Ceres, the weighing of the heart. We'll talk about that in a minute with the ibis and your feather and your heart. What else has been shown there? What have we misunderstood for all these years? That Jesus dies on the cross. The Son dies on the cross. Well, that happened in 31 AD, remember? So I'm doing a recap so people can catch up. So Ceres is going to be there on August the 31st, where is the harvest line, where they say the Son dies on the cross. You can see the Son and both Marys, okay? The Bible is nothing but astrological implications of the lights in the sky that affect us in the same way. So we have to self-harvest. And how do you self-harvest? Well, you self-harvest by using love and dropping all the materialism, right? So this not only happens in 31 AD, 558 years before that, you keep doing that. Both Marys are there with the Son and they die on the cross. It's the same thing as sleeping at night when the sun sets, remember? It's the same thing when we change ages. It's the same thing when we change lives. It's the same thing when we change seasons, the harvest season. So remember, in Egypt, there's no such word as death, only rising in the east. So again, it's about separating the Ouroboros from the head. And like we showed before, Mother Nature, where do we get these symbols? We talked about that synchronistically in the messenger today, right? Where's our words come from? They come from symbols, and the symbols come from Mother Nature. They're showing us because we know what the cobra can do to us, right? But Mary's going to step on that snake. So that means we got to go and be our own self-harvester and get the freedom. We get that transcendence. We get the liberation. But you got to get to that state of mind of only loving. So you can see that that North Node is the exact same thing, and that is happening. It's all there. And it's happening in the sky. It's happening in the stars. So people are going to cleanse. They're going to feel things because their body has to come out. It has to show itself. And people are going to go, why? Why is this happening to me? Because there's things you haven't resolved. When you resolve everything, which many of you have, it becomes invigorating strengths. So just know that. So if there is some cleanse left in you, greet it with gratitude, move forward, because you know it's just going to make you stronger. And it's, if anything, it's going to give you a sign of who we need to love, who do we need to forgive. But the number one forgiveness is with ourselves. And then September 4th, as she gets closer to, because November 23rd is when Mary steps on the snake. On September 4th, she actually aligns with the tail of the snake, Ceres. So that's important. So Sophia means wisdom. We'll talk a little bit more on another slide. But we speak with an ancient tongue and are starting to remember these root words and symbols. They come from images from nature, just like the cobra. Susan had a few synchronicities that's going to be shown in this presentation. So that being said so far, Mother Nature and the stars are our crystal ball, just like many of the greats have shown to us. They all point to the stars. You have to point to the stars. They're our guide. They will always be our guide. No matter what happens, you can destroy anything you want. The stars will always be there. They're immovable. They're always guiding us home. So we're going to do a recap. Because here it is, because we're going from Pisces into Aquarius. Revelation 12:1 happened in the sky on April 15th. Genesis 3:15 happens on November 27th, where Mary steps on the snake. But another one important to mention is you, all of us, the sons, they're going to be on the harvest line. So this is when we go into Libra on October the 18th. So the sun will align. So Ceres is going to be there, then the sun, and then the mother steps on the snake. So it's very symbolic. It's another reminder for us, hey, clean up house. That's all what it means. And of course, October 28th, there's the song when Jupiter aligns with Mars and the moon's in the 7th house in the age of Aquarius, right? So there's that. That's there too. How did they know? They were guided to it. They were guided to it. So let's talk a little bit about Sophia. Sophia, in summary, sophistry has its origin in the Greek words Sophia, which is wisdom, and sophistus, which is a wise person. Bringing in this Buddhist passage. Why do you logically conclude of this Buddhist passage, Udana 81? There is an unborn, an unoriginated, an unmade, an unformed, i.e. the soul or Brahman. If there were not, O followers, this unborn, unoriginated, unmade, unformed, then there would be no way out for the born, the originated, the made, the formed. So this is, Ken Wheeler had a debate with AI on philosophy, the true philosophy, and Ken won. Advaita Vedanta, the mind does not know what is behind the mind, because it's not something you can grasp. But the mind, is known but what is behind the mind. In other words, that pure essence, that pure love knows about the mind because we're tethered to it. But we don't know about it, but we are now, right? That's the part of Revelation we're upon. We're upon knowing what's behind our mind. It's pure love. We're tethered to it. There's no such thing as a duality. So in other words, pure love knows your thoughts, hence karma. What the waves you've left while you're playing with the light. And that's what we're doing. Advaita Vedanta is a profound philosophical and spiritual system that originates from ancient India. It's non-dualistic. The unity of all existence. The ultimate reality is non-dual, meaning there is no fundamental separation between the individual self, the Atman, and the cosmic reality, which is Brahman. So do you see? We have to detach from the self in the mirror and know that true love that we are tethered to, it's true love. There is no duality. Just us and lack of wisdom is what we think is the other side, the dual part. Remember, even those who claim to be wise must say they are from love, aka the ether in physics, or love in metaphysics. So saying all those words, wisdom and all those things, is still a step away from love. You can't get there unless you're love. And wisdom is just that. And Sophia means that wisdom. So let's talk about the forgiveness of sins and where that ritual came from. So what keeps us in karmic debt is our actions that are not as light as a feather. Sharing my story with others just keeps it alive. So if you share your story that's not good with others, you're keeping it alive. If you're saying it to somebody, it's like you're delivering karma to them because you're making them feel that wave. And the most common thing I get all the time is, well, how am I going to get help if I don't explain myself? I'm having this scenario and it's not good. It's not loving. What do I do? Well, you repaint it the way it should be. Forgive yourself because it's coming back to find you. Only I can get myself out of karmic debt. Repeating what is being done to me is not the answer. I have to repaint those images with love. So I got to forgive myself, and I forgive those that have delivered my not good karma, as they don't know what they're doing, but they're delivering it because my chart says, please deliver it to me. So my chart is set to experience what I've done to others. This works both ways. It also works with good karma. And that's how you squash the not good karma, right? So look at this image. What do you see? You see you in the middle with the ibis. Don't forget, the ibis is the one who is Mercury. Thoth is the keeper of all your actions. And the all-seeing eye hawk, the one that's there when you have an aha moment, the one that knows you're thinking the right thoughts and will be there when you have that thought at that right moment. That is amazing. When you have that happen to you, it's an absolute 100% positive sign you're on the right track. So the more you love, the more you pay attention to the signs, the more it grows. But everybody's being induced, so people are just saying it, and it's happening to them to get their awareness. So you can see the all-seeing eye and the ibis are giving him unmanifested water, pure water, so he can cleanse. So we went outside. I went outside to see if I wanted to stay outside, but it was too hot and all these dark clouds were coming in right over top of me. And I said, oh my God, here comes some unmanifested water. This is so cool. It seems to always happen when we're going to have these discussions because it's good, loving energy. So you will attract that unmanifested water to yourself. Kathy comes out and I told her when I came back in, she goes, I'm watching a video on the exact same topic. I go to brush my teeth. The hawk's outside taking a bath again. He knows we're going to have that thought. So that cloud overhead was bringing unmanifested water where we can manifest pure loving thoughts. So what happens? You got to know it and trust it. This is where the ritual of baptismal came in. You don't have to physically pour water in your body. But can you realize that the water will come to you when you need it? That's when it's going to happen. Because you connect with love. And that's wisdom. When you're wise enough to know that that can happen to you, that's philosophia. So let's talk about the weighing of the heart. So I didn't know what this feather was, but something made me go look because I keep seeing this on Egyptian glyphs. They keep showing a double one or whatever, a double plume, like they show up in here. The double plume, see it? Double plume. And it's on the ibis. Well, a lot of AI and a lot of looking around, it's the tail feather of the ibis itself. And what does a tail feather represent? It steers helps steer, right? Helps keep the balance, helps without the tail feathers, it can't fly. So the ibis plucks one of its feathers during the weighing of the heart. It's incredible. The symbology in here is absolutely incredible on the Egyptian walls, hence why we study it. So Mother Nature's and the stars are the path to wisdom, and you are being guided. Somebody said they got the eagle feather. I think it was Angelica. That's what happens. Every time I go save a little bug out of the pool, a little feather floats by. It's incredible. You'll always see a feather when you do an act of love. How does that feather know you're going to be there? Just the same way as the hawk is going to be there. This is the kind of stuff that you're going to look forward to. I know a lot of you are already experiencing it. So this is a video. Now I could have just took another video right now because I did it again today, and I have this to go in already. So Hawk's showing up saying, hey, tell everybody. So some of you may have seen this. I'm just going to skip through it. This is the hawk taking a bath, okay? So he takes a bath. He sits there for a while, stares at me, right? He flips around, he does a bunch of things. But I just want to here. Living in the street. Oh, there's a solution. Did you see the dragonfly? Look at the dragonfly. The dragonfly knew he was going to take off, just like the hawk knows he's going to show up when you have an aha moment. The dragonfly was already starting his descent at the same time the hawk and knew exactly where the hawk was going. This is Mother Nature showing you how much we are connected as one. So when you make this a knowing, you connect. This is philosophia, the love of wisdom, right? And in that video, you can watch it on YouTube, but I showed it again with that thing there. And then I talk about how the Blue Jays were squawking the day before. So I knew he was in the neighborhood. And then the next day he came. And then I even went as far as looked at my chart, and I could tell that he was supposed to be there just by looking at the chart. And this is what the symbology is on the Egyptian walls. When they all look at Horus and you see the same thing, you end up having the aha moment together. This is what they have on the Egyptian wall, and we're experiencing it. So this is all more proof that we're connected with the all. It's absolutely incredible. So I just wanted to read this once again, because on November 27th, this is what happens. Chapter 3, Book of Genesis, the temptation and the fall of man. So it's the fall of the ego. Verse 15, I will put enmities between thee, the serpent, and the woman, and thy seed and her seed. In other words, your pure essences. She shall crush thy serpent, the head, which is symbolic of the ego, the materialism, the things that aren't loving, the karmic waves we haven't squashed yet. And thou shalt lie in wait for her heel. So that's love crushing the ego in the fall of Babylon. It's really important. That's what's happening in the sky. It just means when you're having a cleanse, you know it's just happening because we need to be cleansed, whatever waters are in our body that are still muddy. Dr. Emoto, right? So just to show you, here's another graduation ceremony that you passed, right? You passed the weighing of the heart. Look at, it's all there. Your heart's still there. There's Amit, which is Ceres. There's the Ibis thanking you. Look at, you got the crook and the flail. You're good to go. Mayat is there too, the one that has the 42 spiritual laws, right? And this is just symbolic on the Dendera zodiac as well, where when it's after Libra goes into Virgo, and this represents Isis on the throne talking with you. But this is not meant to be a physical being. It's not to be an idol. This means your higher self, that which you're seeking to transcend to, liberation to, that pure love. So it's you doing it to you. It's you're telling yourself. It's your own karma showing you what you need. That's the beauty of it. So if you look at the word philosophia, the word phi is there, the golden ratio, right? Philosophia. Wisdom and the self are one and the same thing, but they're love, pure love. So synchronistically, after creating this presentation, Ken put out a video on philosophy titled, Seriously, What is Philosophy? Meaning of? So Sophia is the Greek word for wisdom. And philosophy is, of course, the love of wisdom. But what is wisdom? It's not just empirical knowledge that gives you a high IQ. It's a knowing, a deep understanding that goes beyond mere information. Just having knowledge doesn't make you wise. What makes you wise is to be able to know that you transcend the pure love and you're from pure love. And that love of wisdom, that love of wanting to be wise and how to get to that pure love is what philosophia means. So wisdom is a realization of the self, i.e. pure love. The understanding that you and the universe are one and the same, like the hawk, like the dragonfly. It's a connection to the divine, to the all, to the source. Again, the proper word is love. You can't just love certain beings. You have to love all things because you're connected to them and they're your guides. In ancient traditions, Sophia was often personified as a goddess, a divine feminine aspect that represented wisdom. She's not a deity to be worshipped, but a symbol, a metaphor for the wisdom within us all, love within us all. When we connect with Sophia, we connect with our true selves, with our inner wisdom. We become philosophers, lovers of wisdom, seekers of truth, again, which is pure love. So this connection to Sophia is not about dogma or belief systems. Mainstream philosophy today is often confused with the love of the self in the mirror. So mainstream philosophers are boring. Why is mainstream philosophy boring? Because it teaches about loving yourself in the mirror. That won't vibe with you because that's not what you're here for. So this is not philosophia. Philosophia is the true essence, is the love of wisdom, the pursuit of truth, and the quest for understanding the fundamental nature of reality. It's about transcending the self, not indulging in it. It's about seeking something greater, something beyond our own limited perspective. It's a journey, not a destination, and it requires humility, not arrogance. So Ken mentions these names, right? He tells you who the people are who teach you how to love the physical self. That's not what the ancients taught. These guys taught the love of wisdom, which is the love of love, to get wise to what love means and that we're tethered to love. But we lost our way in the Piscean age. It's to be expected. That's what happens when we want to come through the Piscean age. So these greats, they say it's the love with liberation. Philosophia means love with liberation, or love of the transcendent self, to which Ken does not often say enough, which is pure love. As Ken teaches, just like a laser is self-similar. If you take a red laser and you point it on a yellow wall, what color is it? Red. If you point white light to a yellow wall, what color do you see? Yellow. So we want to get towards that self-similarity, towards that love. We want to be the love. We don't want to be the light, the white light. We want to be the love. We understand that the mind thinks only in light, but behind the mind is pure love. And that's what we got to think about. So I'm just going to end with this. And Susan, when you talked about schools, this is when some of the things that need to be taught, at least the teachers need to know and the parents need to know. So the circle of 60 is not only the things that we talked about, like the cross, the circle of fifths, and all the beautiful things that are on there in the swastika. It's also very, very specific with age groups. The 13th position is puberty. Right before we enter the light, the 7077, the top of the chart, where the sun is highest, right? 7 colors of the rainbow. So when we're 13, right after 13, 14, 15, 16, what do? We start coming out of our child form and we start playing with the light. So if we haven't done our job to teach these kids wisdom before puberty, they're going to create karma for themselves, not good karma. Whereas if we talk with them and make them understand, they're going to understand good karma and the love of wisdom, which is love in itself. Because don't forget, if you keep going, you can just do this. You can start walking around. You pop out of the waters, Pisces. If you get the forgiveness of sins, Aquarius, right? They baptize you. Then you start coming onto the land of Capricorn. And then you start playing with spiritual law, because there's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, look at that. When we get to 21, the first number 6 is the age 21 in Scorpio. And when do we start having sex? I know it's a lot earlier now, but the Scorpion usually start having babies around 20 to 25. It's all here, folks. But this is what's important, these years here. But it's not only us to teach the kids, because the kids, when they're misbehaving, they're giving us signs on what we need to change. So they're reflecting us during that frame. We resist that reflection, program them to be what? Players of the light without the wisdom or the knowledge of where they're going. This is changing now. We have no choice, because we'll keep getting sign after sign after sign until we change. That's the beauty about changing these ages. So everything is in the Dendera zodiac. Everything is on the walls in Egypt on how to transcend. That's all I had for today. And Kat gave us a beautiful video. So we're going to play this so you can listen along and chill or whatever. And
wash me clean in the warm sun, dry me, cleanse my heart from all iniquity, baptize me in the Holy Spirit sea. Renew my mind, that wickedness may flee. Restore my soul, Holy Spirit, take hold, bathe me in your peace and let it flow, and grant me hope in the dark, heavy light.